the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's one of the most famous podcasters since 2013. No other than Miss Lindsay.
Yes. Hello, Daniel. How are you today?
I'm fabulous, fabulous Miss Lindsay, and it's my honor to be you on Book 101 Review.
Okay.
And can you please introduce more about yourself?
All right. So, yes, again, I am the co host and the owner of the All Ears English podcast. So, we provide English and communication training to global professionals around the world through our podcast. And we like to inspire people to think of a new way to learn English.
Yes, indeed. To be a better in English. Indeed. And Miss Lindsay, let's talk about grow your business in three tips. Can
Yes.
you tell
Yeah.
us about this?
Yeah, for sure. So, what we've done at All Ears English is we have found one of the key pieces of growing a business is having a content channel, a way that you attract an audience. Because especially with online business, we don't just sell to people we don't know. Instead, what we have to do is grow our audience, and this is what we've done through our podcast. And if you want, Daniel, I can talk a little bit about.
Yay! Sorry for that. Go ahead.
No problem. Do you want me to give 3 tips on how to do this? How to start a channel, that attracts an audience that's ready to buy from you?
Yes, before you go do that, Miss Lindsay, I just want to give you a big an applause because thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And so go ahead, give us the tips.
Okay, so tip number 1 is figure out what you believe in your industry about whatever your topic is that you are building a business in. What do you believe about how to do it? Right? So for example, for us, our overall value is human connection. And that contrasts with other ESL brands that really focus, honestly, just on the superficial aspects of language, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. But we believe that we're learning English for a deeper reason, and that is to connect with human beings. So that's my first tip for your audience is figure out where you stand in your industry, and it's helpful if your stance is a little bit counter, a little different from the rest. Right? It's a little bit unique and causes people to stop and think, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I want to follow that brand or that channel."
Yes, why not? Something unique.
Yes.
And I like to be a unique, Miss Lindsay.
Yes, absolutely. That is my first tip. Do you want me to go into tip number 2?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so tip number 2 is find a format that works for your audience. So, when we first launched our podcast, we had an option of doing a 45-minute episode once a week. But we realized that our audience consumed our podcast on the way to work, and most of them had a 20-minute commute. So, instead of doing one episode for an hour a week or 45 minutes, we decided to do multiple episodes, 10 minutes each per week. So, 4 episodes per week, 10 minutes each. So create a format, experiment around with formats. Do you
Yes.
write long blog posts? Do you write short ones? Do you have long podcast episodes? What are the elements of your template so that listeners know what it feels like to consume your show or your videos or your blog? It should feel distinct and different from other channels. So figure out a format that works. That is my second tip.
Indeed, being unique and having a format. Let's go to
Yes.
number three, Miss Lindsay.
Okay, number 3, when it comes to building a channel that will build your audience that will eventually work with you or purchase your services or your products is consistency. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is like the unsung hero of success. And when I say consistency, I mean on All Ears English, we have never missed a single episode. We publish 5 days a week. We've never missed an episode in the 12 years of podcasting. That's what I mean by consistency. And the way we do that is that we set up systems that make sure we never miss an episode. And I think it's important. Your audience is waiting for you every Tuesday morning, at 1 a.m. Eastern time or 8 a.m. New York time, Japan time, or all over the world. They're consuming our show. They are getting on the train. They're walking their dog. They're expecting an episode of All Ears English. So be consistent. Give them what they're expecting. That builds enormous trust and goodwill with your audience.
So, people, you must be unique, format, and consistency to be a good podcaster like Miss Lindsay. So, how do you define inspiration in a business context?
Yeah, inspiration is a human thing. And I believe that any good business is serving a need, a human need, right? And when it
Yes,
comes to us, we are serving the need for human connection through language. But that is inspiration is as a business owner, you need to dig deep into your heart and figure out what is it that your audience, that your business creates or does for people that satisfies some need, right? That's why we exist. Otherwise, we won't exist as a company, right?
definitely, indeed, Miss Lindsay, and I want you to give a big, big hand for that. Very well said and beautifully articulated. Can you share a specific example where you saw business grow significantly because they are successfully inspired the audience?
Yeah. Do you mean other businesses or my business?
Or either of the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can give you an example when we sell courses as part of our business. It's one way that we make money at All Ears English. And I can tell you that most of our students buy from us because they are inspired by our vision, which comes back to tip number one that I mentioned, what we stand for. We actually trademarked our phrase, which is connection, not perfection. That's a US trademark. They connect with that motto on a very deep level. They are inspired, and that has grown our course sales. They want to be part of our community. They want to meet us. They are not just buying for practical reasons. They're buying because they're already inspired and ready to go.
Ready to go indeed. Why is this? The first essential tip is very important.
Why is it important? My first tip.
Yes.
It's because I put it first. It's number one. It's the foundation. The reason
Yes.
is that you'll never be able to have the energy or the motivation or, frankly, the bandwidth to stick with it if you don't articulate what you think. You should have a level of expertise in your industry to already know what works in your opinion and what doesn't work. And so to articulate that lets you put a bit of your personality into it, a bit of your opinion, maybe a little ego, sure, but that's okay. A little ego is healthy
Yes.
sometimes. Otherwise, you will just be seen as just another channel, just another brand. You have to have some reason you're doing this, something deeper. It's incredibly important.
Miss Lindsay, what's the common mistake businesses make when they're trying to be authentic, and how can they avoid it?
Yeah, there's definitely a double-edged sword. There's a line you have to walk between being overly authentic and forgetting about your audience versus being just authentic enough so it matters to them. On our podcast, we do share personal examples and personal stories. However, I am always, always, always thinking about our listener. And if I feel my story is not going to relate to my listener, if I feel they won't be able to see themselves in my story, I won't share that. So that is the danger of being too authentic. You might lose your audience. So that's why it comes back again to choosing what you believe in. It should be something broad that you can share stories about it and people see that in themselves too.
How does shifting from selling a product, services, to selling a desired outcome or transformation inspire action?
Mhm. Can you repeat the question? So I can
Yes.
understand the question a bit better? Yeah.
How does shifting from selling a product, services, to selling a desired outcome or transformation inspired action, just like your podcast. Now you're creating
Mhm.
courses, now you're having merchandise.
Yeah, we don't sell merchandise, but we have done live events in the past.
Okay.
And educational products, courses, things like that. I think it is really important to focus on the outcomes, right? And obviously you need
Yes.
to make sure your product works, and we put a lot of time and money into improving our products, building very good courses, good products, but it's equally important to market them well, and to do that, we make sure we're talking about outcomes. Where do our listeners want our students want to be 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? So yeah, very important to talk about outcomes when you're marketing your product, for sure.
So, so Ms. Lindsay, I just want to clarify: Are you offering also IELTS as a medium of your podcast?
Yes, we offer an IELTS course currently. We've been offering it for 10 years. We had someone on the team who was an examiner, a former examiner, and our team is examiner trained. So we do offer the IELTS prep course called 3 Keys IELTS.
Wow. Congratulations for that, Ms. Lindsay. Hoping for more and more and more empowering segment of your podcast.
Yes.
Definitely. And how does consistency, providing value before asking for anything, build the trust necessary for inspiration to take hold?
I mean, like I said, people have to, it's not enough just for people to feel you understand them. So, again, coming back to tip one, by articulating what you believe, you are articulating that you understand your listener or your audience. However, it's not enough just to understand them. You need to show up every week or every day and remind them that you understand them. That helps them feel like almost like they know you, right? And we do know them. They do know us because it's the human experience. I went through a lot of years learning languages. I have very specific stories of traveling for a year in South America, living in Japan. And when I traveled in South
Yes.
America, I learned Spanish and I failed at different times. I felt the same emotions of shame and embarrassment and fear that my listeners feel when they learn English. And so I can come back to that story. But if they just hear it once, okay, fine. If they hear it multiple times in different ways, using different words, then they think, okay, this is this person understands me. This company gets me. And I do because I've been in the same position. So there has to be a level of authenticity here. You mentioned being authentic. You also need to have actual experience, maybe doing things the wrong way. And you found the right way because you had that experience. So it has to be rooted in your actual experience as the founder or as one of the content creators of the company.
Ms. Lindsay, how can businesses identify what specifically will inspire their unique audience?
Okay, so it comes back to having background in the industry, right? So when I started the podcast, I had about 10 years of experience already in my industry. Then it
Yes.
comes back to surveying your audience. So you launch your content, you build an audience, you build an email list, you survey them, you talk to them. I'm still doing this. Even this morning, I was on the phone with multiple students of ours at 7 in the morning, asking them about their challenges and taking notes like I was a student, right? You never lose that desire to understand your customer and what they need. And that might be shifting over time. So you're surveying them, you're asking them, you're meeting with them. That's how you do it. You actually talk to the people.
Yes. Interact with them, people. What are the biggest hurdles businesses face when trying to implement these inspirational strategies, and how can they overcome them?
So the biggest obstacle you might face when you try to be consistent with your content is it's hard. It's just hard.
Yes,
It's
yes,
really hard. So
true.
like I said, the way to overcome that is to create a system that makes sure you never fail, meaning you never fail. In my case, you don't publish the episode. So some things we do there is we create a 3 to 4 week window from the time the episode is created to the time the episode goes live. It's a podcast, so podcasts are not live. So
Yes,
that's great. We have a team, an editor, and we have a virtual assistant. And that team, every week, they know exactly what to do, what episodes get edited. They're in the same folders every week, they're labeled the same way. It's very meticulous in the way the system is carried out. And then, we all believe we understand how important it is to be consistent. So when I interview team members, when a new team member comes on the team, they know that publishing 5 days a week is non-negotiable. This is not if we're inspired or if we have energy or if no one's on vacation. I just went on vacation and my other two podcasters on my team came together and recorded a huge number of episodes while I was gone. Or in another case, maybe I work ahead by an additional week. So I record 8 hours in that week instead of 4 to prepare to go to be away from my business. So you do the work, you set up systems that don't fail.
Definitely systematize people. Very well said, Miss Lindsay again. Beautifully articulated.
Thank
How
you.
do you balance the need to inspire with the practical necessity of driving sales or conversions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, this is where it comes to building a great team.
Yes.
And so this year we started working with a marketing team, and they're in charge of writing our emails, setting up our monthly promos, writing our sales pages, because I found that doing that work was really laborious for me. Just really, really, I just hated doing that. And so, what they
True.
put in the emails, that's based on our philosophy, connection, not perfection, what we've learned about our audience. So it's not like they're coming up with anything novel, but they're doing the work and the work is getting done. So again, I guess that's another system, meaning a team that's just making sure every month we're promoting a brand new a different course every month. The emails are going to go out in the same way every time. Systems.
System indeed. What role does vulnerability or sharing challenges play in inspiring an audience authentically?
It's huge. Like I said, my origin story of our brand vibe, our value of connection, not perfection, comes back to a very specific night when I was sitting on a beach in Colombia during my year of traveling, where I thought I was speaking well in Spanish. And then I lost control of the conversation. I couldn't understand anything. All native speakers spoke fast, they made jokes, they used slang, they talked about politics. I was totally lost. And the point of the story is how I reacted to being lost. I curled over my shoulders, I stepped back from the group, and that's the key moment that I like to use to inspire students. You can do something different. You can choose to step into the group and not be ashamed or embarrassed if you do lose the conversation. So the way I do that is I tell stories. It's storytelling is how we inspire. Right? We've been in that position. We tell that story.
Yes, indeed. Storytelling is one of a kind. Beyond likes and shares, what are the some tangible metrics that indicate your audience is truly inspired, and how does the link to growth?
Yeah, I mean, we track our growth of our audience members every month. Again, another team that I work with that tracks the success of our podcast, how many new listeners, followers, how and word of mouth is big. So when I hear students say, I found you because my friend told me about your podcast, that's a very good sign. I
Yes.
can't measure that, but when I hear it a lot, which I do, I know we're doing something right, because that is the ultimate seal of approval when people take the time to go to their friend and tell them about your show. So, a combination of a feeling, you have a gut feeling that this is resonating, looking at reviews, um, and then looking at the hard metrics of listeners gained every month, listeners lost every month, follows to the podcast or subscribers to the YouTube channel, for example. There's a lot of different ways, but it has to be a combination of qualitative and quantitative.
Miss Lindsay, as a famous podcaster, what are your short term and long term goals?
Yeah, short-term goals are certainly to always to increase our growth of our show. That's what we're always looking to do. We want more people to understand our mission, which is connection, not perfection, right? And to be inspired by what that means for learning English and communicating in English in global business and travel, right? So that
Yes.
that always is just I want more people to know about All Ears English and know that they can listen, they can join our YouTube channel, they can listen to our podcast, they can find us on Instagram even. Long-term goals, I want to set in motion a way to bring in new podcasters on our team and make sure that there's a way to replicate the feeling of what it feels like to listen to an All Ears English episode. And that's, again, that's a system. That's a matter of identifying what do we do in every episode that says, this is All Ears English. This is not another show, right? What do we do? Then training a podcaster, but also finding the right personalities. Because if you listen to podcasts, you know that so much of podcasting is you like the person, you like that podcaster, right? And so that is
Yes.
kind of my long-term goal. How do I make sure All Ears English continues as a podcast and a brand if I need to step off the microphone? That's not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe in 3 to 5 years it will.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Lindsay, and hoping for more success to
Thank
your
you.
podcast.
All
So,
right.
what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to create their own podcast?
Create their own podcast, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, stop thinking about it and do it. I mean, the cool thing
Yes.
about podcasting is open RSS, right? Open RSS. We have an RSS feed. Your feed goes everywhere. You own your show. Your show is not owned by YouTube or any platforms, right? You have many different places your show can go. There's no barrier to entry. You don't need permission. You don't need to apply anywhere. All you need to do is plug in a microphone and put a little thought into your audience. Think about your audience, start creating content for them, because it's always going to shift. Your style is going to shift over time, but if you don't start, you'll never get there. So just plug in the
Yes.
microphone is my advice.
Start it now, people. Stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to talk and talk and talk about something, please do so.
Yes.
And Miss Lindsay, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I just want to encourage you or to please do listen to my other podcast too, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in third season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, and Mental Health 101. My love letters in third season, and Movie 101 and Music 101 in its third season too. Science 101 and Sex 101 in first season. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Lindsay, how or if you could leave our audience with one actionable step they can take tomorrow to start inspiring their audience more effectively for growth, what would it be?
So I think make a list of moments in your life personally that have deeply affected you. And what does that mean in your industry for whatever you are talking about on your show? Can you find a moment where you had a revelation or realization that was kind of a turning point for you? And does that moment have legs? Does that have heart? If it does, it could be the seed of an idea for your show, for your content, for how you're going to build your audience. So I think my advice is actually reflection.
Yes, people, do a reflection and make a podcast that you have a passion with. Miss Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your famous podcast itself?
Yes, go. Or if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can open your search bar and type in All Ears English, and you will find our yellow branding. You can hit the follow button right there. If you're on YouTube, you can type in All Ears English, and you will find our YouTube channel. You can hit the subscribe button right there.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Lindsay because if you support her, more and more and more empowering episodes to come. So, Miss Lindsay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.